This amateur footage shows Sierra Leoneans at work on a Chinese-owned fishing vessel offshore in the middle of the night. These men are among over 4,000 people who make up the crucial labor force in the industrial fishing sector of Sierra Leone. They mostly do all the hard labor, from sorting the catches to washing them before packaging and depositing them into cold rooms, both offshore and onshore. Yet they say they have been doing all this under deplorable working conditions, in blatant violation of Sierra Leone's labor laws.
They get accidents and see you can maybe na men no more than the men you they left you. Don't we left woman then they go they don't as one side they feel say they get benefits. We can nothing. I don't see beaucoup people now like more just that 3 people inside here and 9 don't die inside this year don't die, no benefits, we not see nothing.
What in cause them?
Now cold, now they kill we and see. This work they do so you get after infect, you get accidents is how they happen, they also man and finger they cut.
Alpha Camara is part of a group of fishermen who have decided that enough is enough and are speaking out to put an end to what amount to gross human rights violations. They say they are forced to work overtime without proper compensation, and that hardly are they given enough food or water while at sea, sometimes for over a month. They say they have no access to medical treatment, and their employers, mainly Chinese, rain abusive words on them and sometimes resorting to physical violence for daring to speak up against the maltreatment. The Sierra Leone government placed a month-long ban on fishing in April as a conservation measure geared towards replenishing the country's fish stock. This ban expires on April 30th, when these men are expected to return to sea. But they announced at this press conference 2 weeks into the so-called closed season that they have no intention of returning until their concerns are addressed. One of these concerns is a monthly deduction of their already paltry salaries by a union they say has never represented their interest, as well as a review of their remuneration. Mahmoud Kamara and a few of his colleagues volunteered to speak on behalf of their aggrieved group, which they claim comprises over 1,000 people.
For the past 1 many years, we don't fight this fight. Talk to the man. Now, for April. I mean, all the months you done, I let them pay me 500,000 dues. Indigo court 50,000 dues because now we don't see what they give them for me. Then first for we, but it don't get a peak. We not select the effect for what. So that money no reflect for nothing. We not get union office. I mean, like Panboy, you say when I the union office now, we dey cancel for keep time. Now we dey talk. We say what it happen. Nothing like that. So make we decide for saying we will go out, where we come first, we don't fight.
According to the government, fisheries employs about 500,000 Sierra Leoneans, representing 12% of the country's economy and a source of protein for 80% of the population. Industrial fishing is estimated to account for about 30% of fish consumed locally, because the target of the foreign boat owners are European dining tables. According to fisheries laws, foreigners can only register to operate in Sierra Leone through locally registered Sierra Leonean-owned companies, which serves as agents. Data on the exact number of such companies was not immediately accessible from the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, which released Sierra Fishing Company, Sabco Fishing Company, and Okeke agencies as the top 3 largest agents in the country. The foreign vessels come from mainly 4 countries: China, Korea, Russia, and Greece, with the Chinese owning the majority of the fleet. Sierra Leoneans constitute the bulk of the informal workers on these boats.
No medical, we not get first aid na sea, we not get on land, and then they really danger for fisherman. Fisherman is sick. The next thing they think and die, remember. Number 2, the money they pay, it damn too small. I will say the economy, yes, but the money too small for the kind of work. I don't feel say any work in this world na salary. Mama be specified. We add like a fishing work. You not day na this world. Because fisherman will work day and night. We not get shifts. We not get time. Like rain they come. That water they pit rain they rain the pretty water. Fisherman they work. Like the sun, that sun they warmth. Fisherman they work. We not get time. We not go holiday. But they can't pay 1,100,000. Of recently, we can't realize for say now 3 million they pay we. And a pure wickedness, the people who only scam money. But also when we find out, realize for say nobody know able for toxin and me all this money we make it. But we can't know for say 3 million. And that 3 million they now we don't find out who that they all this particular money. Labor ministry will go there and tell me say fisherman not ever go complain to them. Over 30 every fisherman they suffer this country will complain or go to labor ministry one day. So we don't come with the complain out to ministry. Now we wait for waiting and go for Terry now. And we never for do anything except then deal with the problem them.
Images shared with ManoReporters attest to their claims of undignified treatment at the hands of the foreign crews. They say they work under rain, sometimes without adequate raincoat. Once there is job to do, and there always is, they are not allowed to rest. And after a hectic day of work, they have to prepare makeshift rooms and beds using cartons to sleep on. Scenes that sharply contrast with the well-kept air-conditioned quarters of their foreign colleagues. If you fall sick at sea, they say, you have to wait until a carrier vessel arrives, often fortnightly, sometimes once in a month, and take you along to shore for treatment. If you are unlucky, like a friend of Abu's, your remains are returned to your family. Abu has worked with Sierra fishing for 5 years.
You get problem with any Chinese man because at that time can be the most the Chinese man they're rough, they're more arrogant. So now can if I make some small problem can inside the tell it's a party. So then yeah that party and I stop for
The
good.
Sierra Leonean fishermen say their fight for good working conditions started over a decade ago. When this father of 3 joined the sector in 2007, he was paid 600,000 leones. He says it took 10 years and an industrial strike action in 2017 for their salaries to be increased, in the face of incessant economic hardship. He declined to comment on record for fear of reprisals, noting that many of his former colleagues lost their jobs after the 2017 strike because they were identified by vindictive employers from video footages of them speaking to the media. The aggrieved fishermen say their members cut across all companies, but Sierra Fishing and Sabco are the prominent alleged culprits. Contact numbers listed for both companies online didn't go through. Sierra Fishing is one of the top employers in the sector. The company in 2020 announced the creation of further 1,000 local jobs, following the inauguration of a $15 million European Union funded fish processing plant at its Kishi Dockyard head office. It was a busy day when our team arrived at the office on a Friday morning. A security officer wouldn't accept a letter addressed to management requesting for comment without instruction from his boss. We tried to explain that we were here the previous day and were asked to return today. After a few exchanges, he asked us out of the compound. Eventually, we convinced him to call his boss, who ordered him to receive our letter. The next day, I received a call from a man who identified himself as Mr. Musa, head of admin and human resources of Sierra Fishing, offering to respond. On the day of our appointment, he wouldn't pick my call nor respond to my text message to confirm his availability. At the head office of Sabco, women fish vendors scramble for a share of the catch meant for the local market. A security officer told us his boss was too busy to talk to journalists. He requested for an official letter, which we provided. We never received any response up to the point of airing this report. Officials of the Ministry of Fisheries wouldn't speak on record when contacted by ManoReporters. A senior official acknowledged that the concerns of the fishermen had reached them, but they said under existing fisheries laws, responsibility of employee welfare exclusively rests with the Ministry of Labor. The Labor Ministry declined our request for a comment. A spokesperson said they were not granting any interview at this time as the issue was under investigation. A major concern of the fishermen is the apparent inability of their union to represent them, and they want their leaders changed. John Ahmed Mahoy is the Secretary General of the Sierra Leone Fishermen Union. In their humble two-room office in the umbrella Sierra Leone Labour Congress's complex, Mahoy was at pains, trying to reconcile his defense of their leadership and acknowledging the familiar grievances of their members. He initially sounded defensive, almost confirming allegations that the union represents the interest of the companies rather than their members.
Sometimes last year, these same allegations came up, and as a union, we went out, first of all, to verify whether what they were saying is actually the situation. You understand? For some fishing companies like Sierra Fisheries, yes, there seems to be semblance of that.
Semblance
The accommodation was not to that okay. You understand?
Yeah.
So even we as a union, we took that up with management, and efforts were made. Foams were bought for them. You understand? But I would tell you that the same fishermen again, these foams, they will destroy, even when foams have been bought for their comfort.
After about an hour of exchange, Mahoy eventually agreed that there were a lot of issues that needed addressing in the sector.
Well, Sierra Fisheries, I think their working condition, I think the area of this accommodation, they really have to do something to beef up that one. Because I myself have seen, because the last time, late last year, when we went and, the government inspector was there, In fact, it was only then he was saying, you really have to fight for these people. I said, yes, it's true, but you two, you are here. We are not here. This should be included in your reports so that ministry will call the company concerned and ask them, we noticed that this. So Sierra Fishing, they should try to build on that. But as a union, we are going to take it up very, very strongly with them.